I'd like to next introduce Cindy Crump. She is the founder and CEO of AFrame Digital. She will speak on DARPA commercialization success case study, the MobileCare monitor. And Cindy is a company that we have, Cindy's company is a company we have worked with on the Transition Support Assistance Program. Okay. And she is like the entrepreneurs. Okay, I'd like to introduce Cindy, and Cindy is an entrepreneur like many of you who are on the call today, and she's passionate about the technology, about solving an important problem, and about making a difference. So I'm going to turn the webinar over to Cindy, and she'll speak about the activities associated with commercializing the MobileCare monitor.
Thank you, June, and good morning or afternoon to everyone. I'm the founder of AFrame Digital, and we're on the East Coast. We're based in Reston, Virginia, for those of you that may be mourning. We offer an advanced, and we're operating a continuous real-time mobile health and safety system for seniors and other at-risk individuals, including wounded warriors and those managing chronic conditions. Our goal is really to help these individuals be as independent as possible in their daily lives across many care settings, whether they're an outpatient or in rehab or in assisted living, as in senior communities, or even in hospitals, to make the setting not the issue, but rather independence across all of those and support for the caregivers as well. We sell into hospitals, rehab centers, home health agencies, and we are really now a global company. We've just signed a deal in Australia for 3 facilities, plus we are considering a channel partnership there. And it was nice to hear Matt Falls about manufacturing and exporting our products, because we actually are doing it now. Next slide, please. While it may seem somewhat far afield from the DARPA program that we initially got our funding through, the background is a personal story. I have an elderly mother and a father-in-law who is 91, and both are still very active, and they drive. And and my founders, those who worked with me, have worked in high technology, in networks and carriers and software development at the forefront of technology over the last 25+ years. And we found that returning wounded warriors have a similar need to return to independent living. And so we were thinking about how we could better support them with software agents rather than just with individuals or through facilities, make their needs and have the network capabilities follow them wherever they were, and provide a safety net to keep their independence. One of our clinician advisors had strongly recommended we respond to a DARPA SBIR in 2005 as we were getting started, because the objectives of that program really were matching our business plan. So in responding, we were quite passionate, and we were well supported by our local state technology advocate. I can't say enough good things about, certainly DARPA and Fed.org, but Center for Innovative Technology, which is a Commonwealth of Virginia agency, did a great deal of things to help us in preparing for our first SBIR. So winning that first SBIR Phase 1 really launched the company, and that funding met an important dual-use need in the market. That is a key part of commercialization, understanding how to deliver on a common market need without distracting yourself with all these various topics, making sure your company business plan needs are aligned with the need in the government that has dual use. Next slide, please. I remember the earlier speaker talking about a proven commercial team. To accomplish all that we needed to do to deliver this service and system, we need a strong interdisciplinary team, and really one that you would not find necessarily elsewhere. Many of us have worked together for years, going back 25, even 2 decades. I've worked in senior management positions myself where transformational secure network technologies and software-based risk modeling were brought to the world, such as DHL Worldwide in the early days of the 80s. The global networking phenomenon was starting actually in the late 70s, early 80s outside the government, and Freddie Mac in the 80s, as well as MCI and CyberCash in the 90s. So I've had both Fortune 50 and startup experience. Bruce Wilson and I met at CyberCash in the mid-90s, where Bruce was a founder, and he was responsible for selling the services to all major credit card processors and joint ventures in Germany with 13 banks, UK, Japan with SoftBank. And prior to that, he was a founding president of 9X EFT Services, and before that AT&T, and did one of the first telehealth systems in the early days. And he and I worked together. He also was part of the founding team that led a successful IPO at VeriSign. Sold the CyberCash system to VeriSign. Kelly Biesecker is our Director of Sales and Marketing at Sunrise Senior Living, and she has enormous rapport in the industry. And Dr. Christine Silvers is our Chief Medical Officer, and she and I had read her dissertation, and when we were first getting started on our DARPA research, she had a contract. She was working at MIT on another DARPA contract. She's a practicing emergency room physician and also a medical monitoring informatics and machine learning expert, which is a key piece of our system. Amy Papadopoulos is a biomedical engineer who's deeply involved with our predictive modeling and our software engineering. And Jill Thorpe and Bruce and I worked at CyberCash, and she's strategic initiatives and partnering, which is a key piece of what you need to do to build a team and partner. Next slide. I remember the gentleman from August Ventures saying, team, 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 here's our team. I guess this doesn't come out so well. I apologize. I was reducing the image size, but I can send a better image. I wanted to just say that's really a very important part of what we've done. So I'm the person in the middle. You can also see us on the website. The centerpiece, if you can go to the next slide, of our system, which is called the MobileCare Monitor, is a wearable monitor in a wristwatch. And our goal is to be more fashionable, non-intrusive than clinical, with no stigma. So it's integrated with a full suite of other wireless devices. We've built the system to be open, real-time, continuous monitoring, predictive modeling, looking at personalized baselines, and flagging through pattern matching and machine learning, trends and changes that may be worrisome, so that clinicians and caregivers are not overloaded with information, but rather provided specific and salient information on taking care of an individual. So using predictive models, our technology generates these exception-based alerts, and so caregivers can take a proactive approach. So our vision is to enable active awareness and participation in an individual's own health. The next slide, please. There is a simple setup for the AFrame system. We can install it in the home in 5 minutes because everything's pre-configured. And in order to achieve high adherence, the system must be non-intrusive and easy to live with. And even facilities don't have large IT staff, so we do everything to make it easy to support, set up, and ongoing provide peace of mind, which is really our main objective for caregivers and the individuals. So in addition to a wristwatch wearable, our kit includes encrypted wireless mesh network and additional wireless medical devices, third-party. We're network and protocol and device agnostic, but we do manufacture our own device to support the form factor and acceptance requirements. Next slide. Just as background, we responded to the above topic, non-intrusive health monitoring for post-battle wellness management, and we were awarded both a Phase 1 and Phase 2. We were actually involved in several Phase 3s. We had funding from the Navy through CCAT, follow-on that helped us refine our heart rate real-time monitor, and we are working with another small business in DARPA and Office of Secretary of Defense on a pilot project to use our heart rate monitor with their Android-based mobile system that provides reminders for both TBI and PTSD veterans who need support as it's an arduous recovery. So if you go to the next slide, this just gives a little more wordy view of similar needs that points to dual use. Provide a post-combat safety net for wounded warriors using the latest mobile sensing technologies and cognitive software agents, and make it automated, intelligent and exception-based alerts using that software. We've done a lot of studies with patient data to look and predict outcomes and use that to build models specific to certain applications and make sure it's low cost and dual use. Next slide, please. So most recently, we demonstrated our system live at the ATA, American Telemedicine Association, in collaboration with our partner that is the prime on a phase 2 contract, Rich Levinson and his wonderful folks at Attention Control Systems. And so that was really, really exciting to demonstrate the heart rate real-time monitor with his application. We work with institutional settings. We work via mobile gateway. We've built it to be touchscreen or iPad or iPhone or Droid, whatever device agnostic, whatever device choices are there. And it provides situational awareness both within a specific location and outside. Next slide. The needs analysis really should be dual use. I won't go into all the details of the commercial market, but as you know, we are facing a collision course between two demographic trends where we're facing immediate shortages of qualified caregiving, and the age 65 and older and baby boomer populations are growing very rapidly, whereas the age 80 population is quadrupling, and by 2020 is the expectation. So that really puts a strain on caregiving, and more intelligent software-based solutions need to be part of that so that you're providing a proactive and not reactive approach. Next slide, please. This is one study that Dr. Adam Darkins at the VA conducted regarding the strong economic drivers, and my business case, which I'll present shortly, speaks to this as well, that facilities-based care, this doesn't even show hospitals are like way up there, 300,000 per year if you were to be there continuously versus 77,000 a year for just a modest skilled nursing facility, versus home-based care at 13,000, or telehealth can be a very low-cost supportive mechanism for chronic condition management and those that are elderly and frail. Next slide, please. Our team has bootstrapped the company up from nothing in 2005 and achieved many objectives. We worked hard to win competitive contracts with DARPA and grants from the National Institutes of Health. We recently won a new phase 1 on our automated activity recognition with NIH, and in April we're awarded a NIH phase 2 for work in portable aging surveys. That's another segment of the population that needs support, is in the aging population, understanding how to survey aging individuals for public health purposes, population and health surveillance, and needs that support objectives of ensuring the elderly and their conditions as the population grows are met, and objectives of providing health and independence are achieved over the next generation. We have had angel support a piece at a time, and our total in terms of SBIR funding and from NIH, DoD, Virginia Awards, Navy, CCAT, and other phase 3, I would say, research grants and contracts have been over $3 million, and we've had some outside funding from angels and super angels of about $3 million. The milestones including patents, FDA clearance, first customer and first distribution channel partners. We're now at 12 institutional customers, 10 resellers. They coming where we are actually looking at resellers all the time, but we're bringing them on very carefully so we aren't distracted. And we just are considering it a reseller in Australia, although currently with the new deal there we're providing direct support. It's a global system. It's a software service, so it is possible to do that. Please, next slide, please. It's very important to your success to have the right business model. In our case, in each situation, in case may be different, we operate a professionally managed service for our customers. So we develop the business with a recurring revenue model that's software as a service with an equipment component, because there's an embedded device. That adds value to our offering. It differentiates us. It's really important. It combines a network with the software and equipment. We use COTS equipment for the network infrastructure, of course, and we put our own software on that for running the applications. It's a distributed system, but it is run as a service. There's an upfront equipment charge, sort of like a cell phone service model, which most people understand. It's fairly simple to get. And then the pricing came from analysis of the types of service and what would work for the customers. So this seems to be where we're focused. And it's a nice recurring revenue model, which always helps the business. So next slide, please. Another ingredient for success is competitive advantage. Our own customers, rather than show a magic quadrant chart, our customers have told us, have looked at various ways to represent this, that we provide a comprehensive solution in real time. It's easy to use and is differentiated from other competitors who either have a non-real time, kind of time lag view of the data or provide a niche or fragmented solution for one specific problem, i.e. they do high-end telemedicine, which is a doctor consult to the patient in the home, or they do motion sensor detector-based services, or it's a wander management solution. So cobbling solutions together, there's differences between enterprise class solutions and home-based class, and we are able to provide a low-cost infrastructure, whether you're in a 1,000-patient facility or you're in the home. It's scalable, and then the care providers, clinicians can tailor the care plan for each individual. Some need alerting and wander management, some need just activity assessment, some need additional medical device monitoring. So it really is tailored to the individuals. It's easy to install, and we professionally manage the service. I'll give you a couple case studies in the next slide. Very high return on investment. The medical director of the LIFE program, which is a CMS PACE, which is an all-inclusive community-based programs for keeping elderly individuals in their home as long as possible. Also, they take care of dual eligible Medicaid, Medicare, very elderly individuals who needed support. They didn't necessarily need skilled nursing. The skilled nursing facilities are upwards of $7,000 per month per patient. So they were able to move residents from a skilled nursing to supervised independent apartments with support. They would have a CNA on duty 24/7, and were able to reduce their costs and provide much higher quality of life for the residents in these low-income senior housings that provide real estate investor tax credits, allowed the building of these beautiful apartment buildings that are staffed with CNA, skilled nursing aid help, so they could get their pets back. They were able to get their Social Security payments back instead of being in the nursing home in a clinical setting and getting a stipend of like $25 or so a month. So they were able to receive their pensions again as opposed to prior, and that's a significant cost savings of about $5,500 per month for the care provider organization. And the medical director says that after 2 people are on this system within a facility, the system pays for itself. Very high ROI for them. They're installed now in 3, and they're going to a 4th facility around 5 counties in Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh. We're also in a rehab program which provides real-time activity and support, and it's a differentiator for the rehab program in Virginia. They're also collaborating with us on the longer-term outcome study associated with reducing unplanned medical events, reducing hospital readmissions. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Cindy. We're going to need to have you wrap up in a couple minutes so we have time for Q&A.
No problem.
Thank you.
So just was saying we're accelerating market traction. We're installed in Virginia, in Minnesota, in Maryland, in Pennsylvania, Florida. We have signed channel partners, and we just a care company from Australia looked around, extensively evaluated, and chose our system, so we're going out there. So just to recap, important considerations for you in the next slide. Be sure to research the market and your competitors. I know this sounds like platitudes, but it's continuously evolving. You just get friends who know what you're up to. You get bombarded continuously with the market and competition. Don't let that phase you. Keep a laser focus on what you do and how you're differentiated. And I know that you'll see success. Just focus on it, but be aware and survey the environment around you. Focus on what your core value is. Work with your users, your influencers, and the customers as early as you can. We learned an awful lot, and we still are learning. We continue to modify the system to support new evolving customer needs. In the case of healthcare-based applications, in trials and studies with individuals, make sure you know your institutional review board requirements for trials early and often. We had lengthy IRB approval processes we were required with our military patient populations. Seek intellectual property protections. We have a patent, several patents pending, trade secrets, and make sure you have a full strategy. It isn't just patents. It isn't just about patents. It's about the SBIR technical data rights, your trade secrets, trademarks, etc. And develop a sales and channel distribution strategy and partnering. We couldn't possibly reach all of the customers that we work with directly, and we're a small business. We choose our partners wisely, and we leverage their existing customer relationships. And then certainly funding, and making sure that you continue to bring those funds in. The research helps us innovate, so we continue to use that, but it also helps us move forward with new features and markets and sales. So the last slide for me is just your resources that are very important. All of these I used and were very helpful early on in getting started. The Small Business Center score helped in working with older executives that had actually experience in the healthcare market, specifically CIT, certainly the SBIR program itself. So that's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Cindy. Really appreciate all your thoughts and sharing your experience because it's been a process, and I appreciate relaying the details of that process to the attendees. One question that we have is if you could talk to the process for how you found your teaming partners.
Well, let's see. Some are direct competitors. It's very interesting. They actually make co-opetition is alive and well in this market. It's a very competitive market. There are a lot of players in tangential areas to where we were focused. In the case of one of our partners, it was through one of the facilities that was our early customer, and they wanted to integrate our system with their existing call system, and so the CEO called me once he heard through the IT people that they wanted to do that integration and wanted to learn more because they were focused on fixed infrastructure and wanted to get into ambulatory real-time monitoring and looked at other wearables and activity systems out there. And so we have a strategic partnership that we struck. So that was one way that we partnered with. Another is actually through a DARPA program, as I mentioned, our teaming partner for integration of biofeedback and real-time support and mobile sensing of activity with a integrated application that helps a wounded warrior that may have TBI and has trouble getting through his day or taking his meds or remembering his doctor's appointments, and being able to deal with stress and manage body, mind, self-aware. We were introduced through our commercialization team to this partner who had a contract and needed this heart rate monitor for his for an all-inclusive package. You realize you can't deliver everything yourself. You need to leverage partnering opportunities where it makes sense to do so. And so I think that's been very successful. In other cases, through research, we've been invited to speak. We've published research in this area. And so others have reached out to us. Many different ways of being at trade shows. You have to be careful with your time so you don't get distracted. You focus on the most important of those priorities.
Thank you. The next question is, how long did it take you to obtain FDA approval?
Okay. In 2007, we sent a letter because we'd been recommended through some of our clinicians and experts that we should at least get a device classification for what we were doing from the FDA. We were hoping we would be classified as low risk as a Class 1 device, the initial version of it. It's certainly we've added features and capabilities since, but the initial system we had developed in prototype form, 2007, you get a 513G device classification. And it was probably one of the early versions of the internet-based mobile sensing system, surprisingly, because the FDA said we were not exempt. We did have to go through the 510K clearance process, because it was the first time they had seen the use of the internet. Now everybody in healthcare talks about cloud, but back then it was more rare, and we'd been doing that previously for years back at CyberCash and other industries, but in healthcare everything was fixed location, hospital-like, kind of paradigm. So I met with the RF expert at the FDA about our system at a conference, an IEEE conference. They had provided guidance documentation on RF and medical devices, and he was very careful and specific there and in a follow-up conversation about the things they want to see. And it took us about a year to prepare all those things. It was very extensive, even for the classification level and risks that we had to prepare all that. But once we submitted in January, January of 2009, we were approved. We got one set of questions in March, and we were approved in April 2009. So
thank you.
Prepare.
Thank you. And the final question is, can you elaborate a little bit more on your financing history, and if you're willing to share this, your revenue, your annual revenue, and kind of your profit status, your profitability status for the company?
Yeah. Well, we continue to plow our. We're growing. We continue to plow our sales revenues. We do great sales. We're growing upwards of 100,000 per month right now. We are moving to needing to go to high volume manufacturing decision. So the manufacturing discussion earlier by Matt was interesting because we're looking at various manufacturing partners. So I think you'll find every stage of growth you need more capital. It's feed the beast is continuous every level you achieve. We're about 100,000, and we expect to be EBITDA break even end of this year. But we want to go on a what I call sales and marketing ramp, global distribution. We're talking with strategic partners for global support and manufacturing, where they invest in some of the tooling for perhaps investment in the company. And so we're looking at around $1 million this year. We're a little over 3.5 next year, 10 million. But actually on another plan, which because we've looked at pricing very carefully, we may be able to reduce equipment costs and increase our service fees. That would show achieving over $100 million business because the growth is starting to happen in this market now. So we're looking at another funding round potentially, or a strategic partnership.
Great. Thank you so much, Cindy. Really appreciate your thoughts and wish you the best in your continued success for your program.